Good evening, and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting, Monday, August 5th, 2024, at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance from Deacon Donnie Hills with the First Baptist Church in Paradise.
Heavenly Father, we first come to give you all the praise, honor, and glory, and we say thank you. Lord, bless us with the presence of your Holy Spirit in this meeting, Lord. Touch every heart, every mind, every spirit on one accord, so that everything will be done decently and in order. And Lord, I lift up this counsel to you, Lord, that this will be the best one that we've ever had, that they seek your counsel first in all of their decision-making, Father God. Give them the understanding and the knowledge, Lord, but most importantly, the wisdom to apply it so that this can be the best parish that it can be. Lord, give them a compassionate heart with love, Lord, in all their decision-making, and especially remembering all of St. Charles Parish, Lord. The rich, the poor, Lord, those less fortunate, Lord, that we can pick them up. Lord, you make no mistakes in what you do, and you allow them this privilege, Lord, to be here, to serve you. And Lord, and let them keep you first in all of their decision-making. Lord, we honor you, Lord. We praise you, and let's ask you to have your way, because you're God that never makes a mistake. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deacon Hills. Appreciate it. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of July 22nd, 2024. I have a motion by Mr. Carmodell, second by Ms. Skiba. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes unanimously. Special business, proclamations, canvass returns, etc. 2024-0261. In recognition, 2024 7U Baseball USSSA All-Star World Series Champions. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. The Parish of St. Charles, August 5th, 2024, in recognition. Whereas St. Charles Parish Parks and Recreation has long held a prominent place in the state of Louisiana and the United States as an outstanding parish and recreation program. And whereas the St. Charles Parish 7U All-Star Baseball team excelled throughout the 2024 season, and whereas on July 14th, 2024, the St. Charles Parish 7U All-Stars came home USSSA All-Star World Series champions after going undefeated all tournament, and whereas the St. Charles Parish 7U All-Stars had a great season with an overall record of 23-1, a few players came home with individual trophies. Max Dugas was named Home Run Derby champion. Hayden Harrell was named Home Run Derby runner-up. And Avery Harrell was the Golden Arm runner-up. And whereas members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president wish to recognize the outstanding performance of the members of the 2024 St. Charles Parish 7U All-Star Baseball team and their coaches, now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and parish president, do hereby recognize the 2024 St. Charles Parish 7U Baseball All-Stars Ashton Ballard, Lucas Rosales, Braden Schiffler, Roman Colley, Avery Harrell, Locke Lano, Hayden Harrell, Max Dugas, Caden Plaisance, Carter Kerr, Brody Broussard, and Bryce Fungi. Head coach Joshua Plaisance, assistant coaches Justin Rosales, Jared Harrell, Charles Harrell, Dustin Ballard, Matt Kerr, Michael Colley, Chase Schiffler, and Chris Lano. All right. Our coaches want to come up and accept this as well? Coaches and assistant coaches? Who wants to stand by me?
No, I'm not. I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson. I I ain't standing next to you, I'm standing
Congrats, y'all. All right, watch, we're gonna scoot back, guys. And here, I'm gonna let y'all hold this.
Hold on, he's in.
How much time y'all got? Thank you for the St. Charles Parish, the rec. Without that, none of this is possible. Big thanks to all my parents out there. Without them, again, bringing them and dealing with my short practices. These boys practice, 6 to 8-ish, as I would call it, which turned into 8:30, 9 o'clock. But they didn't want to leave. That was a big thing. Thanks to my coaches, all 20 of them. We get made fun of for all our coaches, but especially with young kids, breaking them up into groups is the biggest thing. So, I mean, without them, most importantly to these 12 little boys, they battled, they practiced hard. We practiced in the rain a couple times. It was good. They put in the work, and it showed up in the World Series. I mean, we played against some good competition, and very proud of them. But most importantly, thanks to all the parents. Without them, this ain't possible. So, thank y'all.
All right, next on the agenda, 2024-0262, in recognition, 2024 8U Baseball USSSA All-Star World Series Champions. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. The Parish of St. Charles, August 5th, 2024, in recognition. Whereas St. Charles Parish Parks and Recreation Department has long held a prominent place in the state of Louisiana and the United States as an outstanding parish and recreation program. And whereas St. Charles Parish 8U All-Star Baseball Team excelled throughout the 2024 season, and whereas on July 14th, 2024, the St. Charles Parish 8U All-Stars came home Division B USSSA All-Star World Series champions. And whereas the St. Charles Parish 8U All-Stars had a great season with an overall record of 19-8, Daniel Capel III came in the home run derby hitting 9 home runs out of 12 pitches, which gave him the runner-up title. And whereas members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president wish to recognize the outstanding performance of the members of the 2024 St. Charles Parish 8U All-Star Baseball Team and their coaches. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby recognize the 2024 St. Charles Parish 8U All-Star Baseball the St. Charles Parish 8U Baseball All-Stars, Cody False, Grayson Pierre, Brooks Ganesho, Harlan Smith, Andrew Ritzman, Daniel Capel, Mac Monson, Justin Alexander, Luke Murray, Caden Hebert, Nolan Clark, Max Brandsetter, and Hudson Sandoval. We have head coaches with us, Daniel Capel Jr., Jonathan Clark, Ryan Smith, and John Ritzman. We want to congratulate them as the 2024 8U Baseball USSSA All-Star World Series champions.
All right, hey boys, just wanted to tell y'all one last time, congratulations. We all of the coaches appreciate all of your hard work and dedication to the 7 weeks that we had together. We put in a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and wanted to let you know that we're very proud of all of you guys. So just keep up the good work. We're gonna move forward here, and y'all continue to excel and continue to get better each year. But again, thank y'all for being a great group and awesome season. So congratulations.
Grayson Perry. Good job, Grayson. Sorry about that.
All right, next on our agenda, 2024-0263, in recognition, Caleb Charles Roper, Eagle Scout. The Parish of St. Charles, August 5th, 2024, in recognition, whereas Caleb Charles Roper is a resident of St. Charles Parish residing in Muncie, Louisiana, with his mother Shannon, his father Dwayne, and his sister Caitlin. And whereas Caleb is a member of Troop 317, chartered by the Southeast Louisiana Council, Boy Scouts of America, in Destrehan. He started his scouting career August 2010, and whereas Cable has spent 12 years as an active member of the Scouts, spending 6 years preparing to become an Eagle Scout. And whereas Cable has earned his 26 merit badges from a list of 137 merit badges and completed his Eagle Scout service project by restoring an accessible walkway in the Bonacari Spillway. And whereas Cable earned these 26 merit badges, showing leadership abilities as an assistant senior patrol leader and troop guide. And where Caleb rose to the rank of Eagle Scout on January 18, 2022, and received his medal in the ceremony on August 6, 2022, at the St. Charles Parish United Methodist Church in Destrehan. And whereas Caleb is a 2024 graduate of Destrehan High School and will continue to grow as an Eagle Scout by providing leadership in his future endeavors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby offer this tribute and recognition to Caleb Charles Roper. This is one of my favorite things to do. Welcome to the club. Come on. You just got to be better than you still look. You might be the council chairman one day.
I just want to say thank you to everybody, and for me being invited to this. It's a big honor to be recognized as an Eagle Scout in front of all these people, and I really appreciate it.
All right, next on our agenda, 2024-0264, in recognition, John William Rangal III, Eagle Scout. Mr. Pillay.
Parish of St. Charles in recognition. Whereas John William Renegal III is a resident of St. Charles Parish residing in Destrehan, Louisiana with his mother Laurie, his father John, and sister Mary. And whereas John is a member of Troop 317, chartered by Southeast Louisiana Council Boy Scouts of America in Destrehan, he started his scouting career September of 2014, and whereas John has spent the last 10 years as an active member of the Scouts, spending the last 5 years preparing to become an Eagle Scout, and whereas John has earned his 31 merit badges from a list of 137 badges, and completed his Eagle Scout service project by painting the interior of Grace Point Church in Destrehan, and whereas John earned these 31 merit badges by showing leadership abilities as Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, Quartermaster, Patrol Leader, and Assistant Patrol Leader, and whereas John rose to the rank of Eagle Scout on September 20th of 2023 and received his medal in a ceremony on June 1st, 2024 at the St. Charles United Methodist Church in Destrehan, and whereas John is a sophomore at Destrehan High School and will continue to grow as an Eagle Scout by providing leadership for Troop 317. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby offer this tribute and recognition to John William Renegal III. John, congratulations. What an honor. So I said some words.
Thank you so much for recognizing me here today. It's an honor.
All righty. 2024-0265, in recognition, Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP, serving the river parishes for the past 47 years. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. The Parish of St. Charles in recognition, August 5th, 2024. Whereas Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP, AmeriCorps Seniors is a network of national service programs that provide older Americans the opportunity to apply their experience in meeting community needs, and whereas the river parishes are communities rich in volunteers dedicating their time and service to RSVP, making significant and positive changes, great or small, through their individual and group actions. And whereas we have never needed the volunteerism of America and RSVP program more than we do today, and whereas RSVP volunteers network and serve the river parish communities through numerous agencies, schools, churches, and service organizations. And whereas volunteering one's time, talent, and resources has been a significant part of America's heritage, and it is critical that we continue such a rich tradition, giving and sharing to preserve and improve the quality of life of citizens in our community. And whereas the receiver is not only the one who benefits from volunteer service, for the giver reaps the reward of improved skills and widened horizons as well. And whereas experience teaches us that government alone cannot meet all of the needs of our parishes, nor solve all of the social problems, so therefore we recognize that our RSVP volunteers and program are truly our valued treasures. And whereas Wednesday, August 14th, 2024, is the special day designated to the river parishes for recognizing those who give themselves and encourage all citizens to become involved in volunteer work. And whereas the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President would like to thank all RSVP volunteers, service organizations, and businesses who have given time, energy, and resources to their communities through volunteer services. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby recognize Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP, for serving the river parishes for the last 47 years. Here to accept is Ms. Jeannie Araby, as well as Brenda and Wendell Cranford.
On behalf of RSVP and the seniors of St. Charles Parish, we would like to thank President Matt Jewell and the council for supporting our program. It allows us, as Matt has already said, to give our time and our talents to better our community. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Brennan. A motion and a second is needed to deviate from the regular order of the agenda to take up file number 2024-0274, a matter not on the agenda. 2024-0274 is a proclamation for Fête du Deux. I'm going to get it wrong again. I told you, Ms. Giva. Mississippi 2024. So I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, second by Ms. Wilson, to deviate from the regular order of the agenda to take up file number 2024-0274. If there's anyone like to come up and speak on the deviation, please do so now. Please state your name and your address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, the public comment is closed on the deviation. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes on the deviation only. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0274, a proclamation, Fête du Deux, Mississippi 2024. Ms. Skiba.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and a special thanks to Ms. Impastato for getting this together so quickly for us. It's an honor. Whereas the solemn flotilla will embark on the mighty Mississippi for a one-time only blessing of the river and the great state of Louisiana on August 14th and 15th. And whereas many records show the long history of Christianity in St. Charles Parish, with French and German pioneers paving the way for the faith-based community you see today. And whereas in 1770, the Catholic Church received land grants from Louis de Gonzaga, Governor General of the Province of Louisiana. Whereas, following the land grants, what is known today as St. Charles Borromeo Catholic Church in Destrehan holds quite a history. First established by German settlers under French rule in 1723 as St. Jean Zalman's Catholic Church, Karlstein, Trinity Plantation, located in Taft. Later relocating in 1740 to the East Bank, calling itself St. Charles, or Church of the Germans. In 1764, the King of France donated the church's property to the King of Spain until 1800, when the King of Spain returned the property to the King of France. In 1806, the church was destroyed in a fire and rebuilt as a wood-framed church painted red, known as the Little Red Church, and rebuilt yet again in 1921, calling itself St. Charles Borromeo Church, with a congregation of over 2,000 parishioners today. Whereas, by 1775, the land upriver from New Orleans was divided into two ecclesiastical districts named after the two churches of the area, the parishes of St. Charles and St. John the Baptist. They operated as two separate governmental districts, each with a commander appointed by the governor. Both banks of the downriver section, now part of St. Charles Parish, became known as the Primera Costa de los Alemanes, the first German coast. And whereas the Catholic Diocese of Louisiana was established on April 25th, 1792, followed by the arrival of Father Perret in 1848 on the German coast, serving St. Charles Red Church parishioners. Soon, St. Charles Parish was included in the newly established New Orleans Archdiocese in 1850. And whereas the Fête de Mississippi will pass through Luling on Thursday, August 15th, on its route from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, blessing the river at multiple places along the way. And whereas all the Christian faithful of the region are invited to participate from approximately 12:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 15th, 2024, to approximately 2 p.m. on the levee across from the road from the West Bank Bridge Park. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, August 14th, and Thursday, August 15th, as Fête de Mississippi in St. Charles Parish, And families and businesses and churches are encouraged to come down to the river and participate in the blessing. And I know that we have Father Vincent from Holy Family, as well as other members from parishes in St. Charles Parish, if they would like to come up and receive, and any other council members that would like.
Two ends to squeeze in a little more. Get you to squeeze in. Right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Mr. President, member of the council, on behalf of the Catholic community here at St. Charles, I would like to thank all of you for this proclamation and recognition. I was sitting down there looking at the flag of our state and seeing that symbol of the Eucharist, the pelican, and see how deeply rooted Christian we are here in Louisiana. That's why we are so blessed here. So we would like to invite you to join us for the rally, the Eucharistic rally, to give thanks to Almighty God for the blessing that He has been bestowing upon us, and ask Him to continue to bless us, the blessing that we need more than ever. Thank you. God bless you all.
By Ms. Wilson, second by Mr. Commandell. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes unanimously. Reports, Finance Administrative Activities, 2024-0266, the Department of Waterworks. Mr. Gordon.
Good evening. Thank you, members of the council, Parish President Jewell. Hard to take after the kids. They were great to see. Greg Gordon, Director of Department of Waterworks. So before I get started, last year, some of this for the returning council members will be some information that is kind of a repeat from the last presentation I gave, but since we have a lot of new council members, I figured I would kind of go back and do some of the same type of information. Of course, it's updated from the full year of last year in that, and add some new information, and hopefully in the coming years with some different presentations, I'll go into a little more detail on specific topics, just to kind of shake things up and provide some more information. So I've never worked this one before. Oh, there we go. So the Waterworks mission is to provide a sufficient supply of safe drinking water and water for fire protections to the citizens of the parish. The department currently has 60 staff members, 14 in the administrative office and billing operations. 23 in distribution. Those are the field employees, the people you see out doing, putting in water meters, doing repairs to the water lines and so forth. And then 23 at the treatment plant. We are lucky now that we do have a full contingent of certified operators to work every shift. Before, we've had some issues with getting and having enough employees, just that we're all trained and all had the amount of hours to be able to operate the plant, because we are 24/7, 365. But I'm happy to report that we have that now. Our total budget for this year is $14.5 million. Our total assets runs around $47.8 million. So those assets are our treatment plants, all the water lines, all the appurtenances, everything physical that is an actual asset. Some stats on our billing and meter reading. Their average customer sales per month was $1,083,000. Water sales, 18% of that is commercial, 39% industrial, 43% residential. Obviously, our largest customers are our industrial customers, our top 20 customers. For example, Waterford, Entergy, any of the big oil plants. Water bills produced, we produce a total of 261,011 bills. Of that total, we also produce 51,277 late notices, 3,800 lock-offs, and final bills, which is people closing out accounts, 1,886. The customer payment methods, 20% are from bank draft, 19% are mail, 35% online pay. Those are people using the PayStar function in our online billing, and 26%, in person. The meter reading stats, so the accounts we read last year were 270,564. Total reads, that is every account being read every month. The number of rereads, inconsistencies, those were differences of over 50% from the previous bill, 2,676. We installed 136 new meters. Our total meter count is 22,547. 2,778 are manually read, which was 12% of our total, and 19,769, are automatic and/or drive-by readings. In 2023, production, treatment, and distribution stats. So in terms of waterworks treatment plant operators, during the everyday process of producing water, we do 270 chlorine samples per month throughout the water system, 120 chlorine samples per day at each treatment plant. One operator per 12-hour shift performs an average of 319 water analyses within the plant during their shift. Waterworks conducts analysis on chlorine, fluoride, pH, hardness, alkalinity, turbidity, and conductivity daily in each plant and monthly throughout the distribution system. I don't know if I went past one. Sorry. All right, so a little update on our automatic meter project. We've been doing this for a number of years now. The benefits of the automatic metering, we have improved accuracy, a greater transparency for our customers, real-time data critical alerts by type and severity, track total system usage by billing area, mobile work orders, reduce staff needed to read meters, and bring meter reading process up to date. Specifically, we've been working a lot of that this year. We've gotten the mobile work orders when we did the new billing system online. We've got the mobile work orders working. It has been a huge improvement. It has really sped up our ability to get to the customer and to deal with any issues that we need to on a consistent basis, but also quickly. Instead of having the customer call in, us having to contact the employee out in the field, give them the paperwork order, have them fill it out and bring it back. It's all on a tablet now. It's a lot faster. It's been increased our efficiency quite a bit. The total automatic meter project will entail the installation of up to 17,000 new meters, and the installation of base stations and multiple repeaters throughout the system. For example, we have a big base station across the street here at the EOC on the tower. So the base stations collect all the information that come from the repeaters out in the field. So the meter sends the information to the repeater sends it to the base station, it's collected and uplifted to the cloud. So as part of this, so what I try to do here is the types of meters that we have and the years that the project's been going on. So for example, if you look at the types of meters, for manual read meters in 2022, we had 10,606. In 2023, 4,478, and this year we have 2,778. So you can see as you go look down to the fixed base meters, for example, 7,086, 13,000, then up to 15,521. We can see that we're shifting over to the fixed base meters and away from the manual read meters, so we don't have to have, again, an employee driving out there, reading it, and or having to reread it if there's some kind of mistake or an overage. So it's really improved that efficiency. Over the project, it's the lifetime of the project so far, we've spent about $8.5 million. It kind of gets down to every fiscal year how much we've spent. It's been pretty consistent. For this year, we are going to spend $1.5 million. For FY 2025, we have budgeted $1.5 million. As part of the automatic meter project update, on the left-hand side of the slide, we have Pedal Valves, a local company installing these meters. This is kind of like a readout that they provide to us every day during the meter installations. So it's a very detailed form. We get a lot of information from them, which is very good. So we can track all that every day, what's been put where. As in phase one, which was complete, so that was the beginning of the project, we installed 6,734 meters in the Munts and Norco areas. Phase two, we went to New Sarpy and Destrehan and installed about 3,700 meters. Phase three, we did Biogosh, Des Almonds, Paradis, Bouty, and Luling, 3,000 meters. And in phase four, which will start this September in the Willowdale, Ama, and St. Rose areas, we will do 2,778 meters. So just to let everyone know, the administration will work with the department. We are going to put some information out there before we start these installations to let people know we're coming. We put out a letter. When Pedal Valves goes out to the street, they put something on the door. People, they check to make sure they're home. If they're running water, they don't install the meters. If they are not home, and there's no water running through the meter, they install the meter, and we leave information. If there's any kind of problem with a box, the box is replaced. We provide the boxes to Pedal Valves. If there's any kind of issue with installations, Pedal Valve has been very good about going back, working with the customer, and to resolve any kind of issues. So we haven't had too many hiccups with that. If we have any kind of outstanding issues with the customers, we always err on the side of the customer, always help them out. If there's a billing question or kind of issue, we provide a credit. We are not going to kind of try to be too remedial in anything we want to do. We want to obviously be very helpful to our customers. After Hurricane Ida, just a quick update on the repairs. The West Bank Billing Office and Treatment Plant, our repairs are complete. We had a ribbon cutting, so many of you out there, thank you for coming. The East Bank Treatment Plant repairs are at 45% complete, a little more since I authored this, probably closer to 55%. And the East Bank River Intake repair has been issued a limited notice to proceed. So what that means is the manufacturing of all the improvements to the intake are currently being done by the contractor and the manufacturer. We are getting through the last portions of the permitting process with FEMA. We have all the core permits. We have the levee district permits. So all that's going through. We're just trying to get our last things done with FEMA so we can utilize some FEMA funding for that project. Just give you a quick kind of look at what the East Bank looks like. That's the third floor. So those are the repairs currently. We still have to do the roof. We're discussing that tomorrow at a project update meeting that's about to get started. That is the new building right there on the right-hand side, the new storage building. We demoed a lot of older stuff that was out there, things that couldn't be used. We are going to improve that building, that new building. It will also include kind of an overhang so we can put all the piping and everything out of the way of the weather, which will be a huge improvement. So each year, the department does a cost analysis, a very detailed cost analysis. It includes 30 separate cost analyses on an annual basis. It's 25 fee and rate analyses and 5 operating cost analyses. It's a year-to-year comparisons of the department's cost to provide services contrasted to the cost to provide essential services. What I've provided here is just the kind of the table of contents of the analysis. I'm more than happy to provide that. It's a public document to all the council members. It's a large Excel file, but it would be great to provide it to you. Why do we conduct the analysis? One is that we have some serious financial stewardship of public assets that we want to show people we are very serious about taking care of the assets of their water system. When the department quotes an amount, it is backed up by financial data. It's an important piece for budgeting and financial planning. It provides accurate costs of services to residential, commercial, and industrial customers. It's accurate tracking of comparison cost data points. For example, the impact of equipment and appurtenances changes for installations and repairs, equipment usage for large repair and upgrade projects, changes in personnel costs year to year, and changes to the cost to produce a gallon of potable water. This is just one example of the fee rate summary. For example, if you look at the new water installations for a 5/8 inch, 3/4 inch meter, the cost for us to install it is $1,209. The current fee is $825. So we have that on every one of these analyses. It helps us quite a bit to understand where we're at financially. The next slide, we kind of go over, I just wanted to bring this up. This is our water production costs. So we do track year in and year out what it costs us to produce 1,000 gallons of water. You can kind of see how the costs have changed over time. The last one, the 2023 cost, the capital improvements, obviously that number is quite large because it includes a lot of IDA repairs. Much of that money is going to be reimbursed either through FEMA or insurance, and a lawsuit that we settled with the barge company that hit the East Bank intake. A summary of the cost analysis: the flat rate fees have not been updated in 10 years. The costs overall have increased, and the damages are charged at actual cost. So if there is damage and we have an actual cost, we just pass that along. We try not to make any kind of profit off that. We want things to be obviously transparent to people. Water production costs between 2014 to 2024. You can see that it's increased 37%. A large part of that is obviously chemicals and energy. We use a lot of power. We're also later on this year going to present the findings of a water rate study that the department completed. It's going to be a review of the financial operating history of the waterworks. It goes on to estimate future revenues and expenses of the system. It establishes and reaffirms a rate structure that will fund operations and maintenance, provide for future capital improvements, and meet existing bond requirements. It does include some recommendations about step rate thresholds in order to save some customers money. We have looked at changing the lowest tier threshold to 8,000 gallons per month from 6,000 gallons. Seemingly is feasible. This is something that the parish president has asked us to look at in detail. And we're going to present this information to the council in the coming months. Just kind of wanted to give you a sneak preview of that. And if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. I believe Ms. Wilson has a question for you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gordon, in reference to the automatic meter project update, your phases, you have 4 phases, and I don't see anywhere Hornville, Kelowna, or Taft is on here.
So those those areas already had the automatic meters installed. So when we started this project, there was a small number that were in the automatic read category. That's where they were installed.
Okay,
located.
so they're done.
Yes.
And one other question, when you have Luling and Booty, I know it's kind of broad to because the area is so large. Do you know like what area of Luling may not have been installed and what area of Booty also may not have been installed? Or you can email it to me if you.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I can provide you a map of, each one of these meters that installed is given a GPS coordinate.
Okay.
So I can provide you an exact map of all the installations and where they were.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Ms. O'Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gordon, I'm looking at the manual read meter count, and then I'm looking at your Phase 4 project, and those numbers match up. Are you planning on replacing the manual meters? That's what you're replacing in Willowdale, Ama, and St. Rose?
Yeah, so these are the meters, when I say manually read meters, those are ones where the employees, the meter readers physically go, they lift up the cover, they read the meter, they make a note. We have it's like a cell phone. They input that data in the phone. What happens is if it's over, it asks you to re-input that data just to make sure it's not a mistake. Once that data is accepted by the device, those devices are plugged into the billing system and that information is uploaded.
Okay. I listened to several of your presentations over the years, and there was a big discussion about what a customer might expect when they get a new meter. And what I try to tell my residents when they do get the meters swapped out is that our new meters are very accurate, correct? Yes. So when we make this change from the manual read meter to the new meter, that some people might see an increase because of low flow. They're capturing all the data. So is that something that
Yes, so if you recall last year, we did a large study where we talked about the accuracy of the new meters versus the old manually read meters and the amount of accuracy that those meters lose over time, especially some of them which were 30 and 40 years old. And when we presented that information, obviously did have increased in efficiency. What we're going to do when we start these last phases of installations, when we put out information, we are going to make customers aware that they're going to have more accurate readings and they may see a bump in their usage. However, one thing we are going to do, and starting in September, we are going to try to avoid the times of high usage during the summer.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Appreciate it, as always. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All righty, 2024-0267, the parish president's remarks and report. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. We'll go ahead and get started with some good news. We had the West Bank Spray Park ribbon cutting this past week on July 30th. I know it's been long awaited by many people. I want to thank Judge Chasson, State Representative Beth Billings, members of the Parish Council who appropriated funds, as well as Gregory Miller and former State Senator Gary Smith for helping to appropriate money that made this splash park possible. So this is a $2.2 million improvement. Of course, you have the actual splash pad itself, 25 amenities, about 4,300 square feet. You have the addition of a bathroom, some pavilions, some walking paths that will lead to other future improvements and amenities at the community center. But you also had the addition, and probably just as big of a cost for the additional parking that was added at the community center. There was additional 85 parking spaces, and that total improvement was $2.2 million at the community center. But I'm glad to say, because we worked with some of these outside sources of funding, whether it would be the state or the Community Benefit Fund, which was created by Judge Chasson, those two entities provided $900,000 and $750,000 respectively, and that led to only a 25% cost share from parish tax dollars for this project. So I wish we could do all of our projects like this. That would certainly help stretch the tax dollar further. But we look forward to many summers. The kids were very excited to play on it. And that leads me into the fact that we're going to have some extended hours over there, since it opened a little later than we anticipated this year. It's going to remain open for longer. So into the fall, we're gonna have the following season will be scheduled through the end of August. So Mondays closed for maintenance, of course. Tuesdays and Wednesdays 1 to 6 p.m. Thursdays and Fridays 10 to 6 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays we leave the 10 to 12 block open for private rentals or parties, and then it'll be open the normal 1 to 6 p.m. hours. That's going to be the same for both sides. The West Bank Spray Park is going to stay open a little bit longer, from September 3rd until October 27th, and we're going to hopefully get some use out of this. We know a lot of our residents want to go out there and play, and the Ormond Spray Park will be open on only weekends from September 3rd to September 29th. We got fall sports beginning very soon. Our Parks and Rec team is gearing up. Fall sports season is starting later this year, and we are starting by distributing equipment and working with our booster clubs to ensure that coaches, parents, and athletes alike are ready for the season in the opening months. The department also hosted a booster club meet and greet on Thursday, where parents were able to meet club representatives and learn more about how they can get involved this year. One of our goals is to really grow the participation from parents or volunteers in our booster club program. Without our booster clubs, it is impossible for us to host any type of recreational sports. We also had volleyball camp and a coaching clinic. Volleyball is one of Parks and Recreation's most loved programs, so we've been preparing our players and coaches for the upcoming season. The first volleyball coaches clinic and players camp were very well attended and a huge success. We had Coach Mindy LaBeouf from Hawnville High School and some of her players, where they showcased basic skills and techniques that the coaches should bring back to their teams and implement into their practices. Players also got a great experience on the court to sharpen their skills before the official start of the season. Our relationship with St. Charles Parish Schools continues to grow, and we're thankful for this partnership, as we know it's going to be instrumental for future coaches and athletes into the future. We want to go to the DeSalmans bulkhead. All of the sheet piles are in place, and the riprap has been tied into old US 90. I know we don't have a picture of the riprap on there. Some concrete does need to be poured down by what we call the crab factory, or the critical vulnerability, further north in the berm system that we have, and they are finishing up the remaining piling cap work further south on the project. The stop log system at the boat launch under the Highway 90 bridge is complete. You can see on that right-hand side picture, right in front of those two yellow bollards, that is one of the brackets where those stop logs will slide into. And that is going to have a big impact when it comes to us having to go out and putting out what used to be over a mile of HESCO baskets down there. So just to give you an idea on the impact, so what we've completed was 2,800 feet of permanent flood protection along Bayou DeSalmans. So on the screen, the map, you can see that the yellow and blue sections that's the yellow and blue sections. The orange section is for future improvements. But since we don't have to set up HESCO baskets along this 2,800 feet now, that's going to save Public Works over 144 man hours ahead of a storm And that's with the parish workers. That's about 8 people working a 16-hour day, or if you work those same number of people in 24 hours. So it really is cutting our response time and preparation time in half with those HESCO baskets. And I know that the residents are going to be happy to not have to drive around in HESCO baskets, when the school bus drivers are going to be happy not to have to make a 42-point turn to turn their bus onto one of the narrow roads down there. So next we'll go over to Destrehan 2. We'll just give another update. The 6 Duperon screen cleaners that were initially at the station are installed. You can see those there on your screen, 3 bays, 2 per bay. Representatives from Duperon flew in today, and they're going to be running tests tomorrow. So this is the first set of screens that can be turned over and utilized to St. Charles Parish. Our goal is to make sure these are operational and make sure that they are working for any type of storms that we have. So what's left to be done, you can see, I think, Sam, there's another slide. They just poured the deck for the bridge. You can see that on the left-hand side. And there will be another set of bar screens that goes on the right-hand side of that picture where those gentlemen are standing. And they also finished cutting the holes in the backs of the 72-inch pumps. So if you can imagine standing on the station, if you've been there, those 72-inch pumps were only fed from the canal side. So water had to come straight into the station through the bar screen cleaners and get sucked up by those 72s. Well, if you've ever been out there when those 72-inch pumps come on while the 348-inch pumps are running, you see that the canal goes down very quickly. So those pumps really are working. The problem is they work a little bit too good for the amount of water being fed to that station. So again, the whole point of this project is to feed those 72-inch pumps better and get more water to the station. That's why we've doubled the opening of the station. That's going to allow for more water to flow into a sump that has been dredged and widened. And those boxes that have been cut out behind the pump, and that is the pump bell housing right there, you can see on the right-hand side, are going to allow that pump to take in water from 2 sides and hopefully allow that pump to continue to stay on and continue pumping for longer. And we think that this is going to be a tremendous improvement in the overall efficiency of the station, and we're excited for it to be complete. We'll go over to back-to-school tree trimming. Yes, this is something that happens every year. Our public works crews are working with our St. Charles Parish School Board to prepare our roads for the first day of school by trimming trees along our streets. Every year, the buses go out, they run their routes in anticipation of the first day of school, and they report back to Public Works where their buses may be touching trees along our roadways. And so we take that information, we mark it, and then our crews go out and do the necessary trimming to make sure that our buses are safe. And I know that our residents who have fifth wheels and other large trailers also appreciate this as well. Last but certainly not least, we want to just mention sales tax. Sales taxes were slightly up again for June. We saw an increase of 3.81%, which is just about $150,000. And to date, we are down about 2.05% from this time last year. My conversations with the sales tax collection office look like everything's trending back in the right direction, and that we should end the year off slightly higher than last year. And that concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Mr. Pele.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Jewell, do you have a figure on when that pump station completion may be?
I think it's September is what we're being told, mid-September. Yep. And I know that the contractor who's working there also won the bid on the Sunset Auto Bar Screen project. So I know they want to get that crane. They're working as fast as they can because they want to get that crane over to Sunset so they can start working on that project as well. And so you should see a lot of that work getting done real fast because I know they're anticipating starting another project with us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jewell. Thank you, Mr. Pele. All right, ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing, Monday, August 19, 2024, 6 p.m., the council chambers, courthouse of Hanville. 2024-0270, 2024-0271, 2024-0272, 2024-0275. Ordinance is scheduled for public hearing and adoption at this public meeting, introduced at a previous meeting. 2024-0257, an ordinance adopting, setting forth, levying, and imposing taxes on all property subject to taxation in the Parish of St. Charles, State of Louisiana, as required by Section 23 of Article 7 of the Constitution of Louisiana and revised Statute 47.1705B for general parochial purposes, constructing, acquiring, maintaining, operating, extending, and/or improving levees, facilities, and structures associated with outer flood protection systems within the parish, constructing, maintaining, and operating parish road maintenance program, parish recreation program, parish fire protection, mosquito control program, emergency 911 telephone system, health unit, and the Council on Aging program. Council on Aging Program 2, Road Lighting District Number 1, Library Service District Number 1, the Ark of St. Charles, paying any costs associated with acquiring, construction, improving, maintaining, and operating wastewater facilities in the parish. Mr. Dewsome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our annual millage ordinance, and as you know, 2024 is a reassessment year, so we're required to roll back for the legislative auditor. And the legislative auditor gave us, for our 14 taxing districts, a total rollback of 1.21 mils. And the parish president and administration have decided to push that to 1.85 mils, so actually 0.64 mils over what was suggested by the legislative auditor. And we'd appreciate your support and be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Dewsome. File number 2024-0257 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Matthew Allshouse, 303 South Fashion Boulevard. Good evening, Council and Parish President. I am the Fire Chief of Hahnville Volunteer Fire Department, and I'm just here on behalf of the department to just voice our opposition to the tax rollback for the fire service within St. Charles Parish. We do understand that this is something that needs to be done. Our hope is in the future that we can get a better understanding of the needs of the fire service. We do understand that this rollback is not necessarily taking money away from the fire department, but we have been voicing for quite a while now that the fire service is going to need additional funding. We are working on some plans to lay out to the council and to the parish president on what that's going to look like. And again, I think we've been pretty good stewards of the taxpayer funding that we receive. I've shared in the past a pretty detailed outline of Hahnville's financials. Our rollover money, and when I say rollover money, that's money that we have to use outside of our yearly operation and maintenance, is shrinking dramatically. And prices, I know there's been some conversations of, 30% increase, and we're seeing huge increases within the fire service. And the fire service equipment is specialized. There's very little other markets that use the type of equipment that we use, and we're seeing dramatic increase. Again, we're hoping in the future that we can work towards seeing adequate funding for the fire service moving into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. File number 2024-0257 is open for public hearing. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
I'm David Simon. I live in Destrehan. My attention was drawn to this when I got the assessor's report last week, and that caused me to go look at the assessor site and see that my property tax valuation went up by 35%. And because of the homestead exemption and arithmetic, my taxes will go up by 45%. And I realize that's a 4-year deal. Last year, from last year, the previous year to last year, or this current year, my taxes actually went down a little bit, which is good. But that told me that I need to be careful when I look at this and say, boy, 45%, that's a big number. Is that going to happen to everybody? So no, probably not, because the assessor's report talked about, I think it mentioned rollbacks in there. Anyway, I got to looking at the details on the assessor site, saw that it was kind of timely for his report to come out at the same time you guys were doing this assessment meeting. And caused me to go look at the numbers in detail. And I saw the document that you guys all saw. I got it from your agenda. And it shows what the millages have been over the last bunch of years. It shows and I can't read this without my glasses, but I don't want to get hung up too far in details. But it does show that you're rolling the millage back 6.44% from last year. That's a good number. I appreciate that. But from last year to this year, property values, and I think the way I understand it, this is residential and commercial all added together, they went down by, I think it's 11%. So there's a difference there. And I think somewhere else on one of the other sheets, it shows that you guys have actually going up 4.1%. So I said, well, I wonder how that compares to inflation. Well, from last year, projected through this year, and it doesn't matter if it's inflation or CPI, they're about the same. That's a 3% change. So you're going up about 1% more than inflation. You know, that doesn't sound like much, but when that happens year after year after year, they begin to add up. And I realize that my tax increase, my 45% increase, a 35% increase in evaluation is a 4-year deal. So I thought I should look at these numbers on a 4-year basis. So I got a copy of the assessor report from 2019 and used the information there. And I took 2019 numbers and inflated them using cumulative inflation rates and looked at what you're asking for now on comparing to 2019 with 2019 being inflated to 2024. And what you're asking for, and I'm going to do it from memory.
Simon, I'm going to stop you right there. You can hold on 1 minute. Would you like an additional 3 minutes?
I don't need that much longer, but yeah, another minute or so maybe.
I have a motion by
I'll get
Ms.
to the end.
Fonseca, second by Ms. Wilson. Please cast your votes to grant Mr. Simon another 3 minutes. And that motion passes unanimously. Simon, you have another 3 minutes.
I'll do it much quicker than that, I hope. But you went up by about 11% compared to 2019. So this 1% that's happening this year. Over the 3 or 4 previous years, it must have been a lot more than 1% compared to inflation. And I guess I want my cake and I want to eat it too. I mean, we got to have the good fire protection like the gentleman was mentioning, but and most of you guys weren't in office prior to, in the previous years when we didn't do the decreases anywhere close to inflation. Apparently, I haven't done it year by year. But I guess I'm asking if, to think about trying to match inflation, look at the numbers on an inflation-adjusted basis, and although 1% doesn't sound like much, when you look at it year after year, for the last 4 years, that 1% adds up to be 11%, 11.4%. So I'm hoping you could do more. I appreciate the 6% or so that you're doing, but another few percent can save us a lot of money. And I think in the end, it'll still be more. Or what I would like you to do is get it all the way down to what inflation has gone up. And I back calculated that number. I don't remember what it is, but it's another few mils, another few percent. I appreciate you guys consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon. Appreciate you coming in tonight. File number 2024-0257 is open for public hearing. Does anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Perrier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Simon for coming here and speaking on behalf of his beliefs and also for attending other meetings to find out what other taxing districts are doing to reduce the millage. I did a little analysis myself, and I can't refute the figures that you're quoting. I will say that the reduction in millage between 2019 and 2020 went down 1.02% to 21.53%. 2022 flat at zero, didn't change. 2023 minus 4.9%, 96%, and then, as you say, 6.44 down in 2024, 11.52 overall between that and then in 2019. But the increase in the tax roll has gone up considerably from about 2.27% over 2019 and 2020, 6.57% in 2021 for the previous year, 7.41% in 2022 to 2021, 22.51% in 2023 versus 2022, and then 11.28% in 2024 versus 2023. What that says is that the tax roll is getting larger. That's a fact. It's due to the industrial tax exemption expiration in many plants. It's understandable. But where we stand is if you take those millages and apply them over to the tax roll, you get the following. You get ad valorem tax in 2019 was $47.5 million. 2020, 48 roughly million. 2021, 51.5 million. 2022, 55.3 million. 2023, 64.4 million, and then now in 2024 we're proposing 67.1 million. And those are, if you want to say the actual increase year over year, go back to 2020 over 2019, 1.22%. The next year, 2021, 7.13%. The next year, 7.41%. Again, 2023, 16.43%, but at 2024, we're at 4.12%. And I only say this because some of these numbers fall well within or close to the types of CPI numbers that Mr. Simon was talking about. But I also went and spent a fair amount of time trying to dig up construction cost indices and the escalation in construction cost, and it's considerably different from what you have in the CPI. Very, very, very much different. You find yourself with figures that if you add them up, it's more like instead of your 22% or whatever, it could be as much as 44%. We find ourselves in public works, in the levees, in waterworks, in wastewater, having to do projects that are continually increasing in price in there. Give you one example, give you two examples. BKI, Browning, Burke Klein Peter Incorporated, working on some, just mentioned earlier, sunset bar screens. That project was bid out, and it was awarded, and we approved it here at this council recently. It was a project that was estimated by the engineer for $10.1 million, but it was awarded low bid, 12.6. That is 24%, and that's in a year. And so the problem here, if you talk to the people at BKI, as Mr. Sam has done, he says that we've been having like a 35% increase since COVID. So that's 21, 22, 23, and now we're in 24. Another data point, we had the Primrose Canal sheet piles that an order was placed, and for some reason the project got held up. The contract was let for sheet pile at $2.757 million, but then 7 months later, that price went to 2.923 or 4 million. That's a 6% increase in 7 months. Annualized, that's a 10.2% increase. The point I'm trying to make here, another data point, the West Lake Shore Pontchartrain project started out at somewhere like at 1.75 billion, and it's now at something like what, 2.3, if I recall? What is it? 3.6. Well, if it were 2.3, that was a 31% increase but I didn't calculate the other figure, but it's considerably more. And that project kicked off in December of 2022. What we're finding is that we're competing with federal projects on the types of projects we do in this parish. We do pumps, we do lots of sheet pile, we do earthwork, we do canals, we do all kinds of stuff. We do wastewater projects, we do repairs to wastewater, we do repairs to intakes, all right? But all of these things are affected. And some of the figures I found were like 14% on increase in labor on these types of construction projects. So my point is, I struggled. I read what the gentleman had to say, and I absolutely appreciate the fact that he took the time to do it. But I also believe that reality is a different story, and that we're facing times where projects are considerably more and absolutely much greater than the CPI would lead you to believe. And really, I got more stuff here, but quite frankly, this is a data point. People should remember this. Right after COVID, and it was in 2022, the price of timber more than doubled. The price of concrete went up 35%. What I'm quoting these things for is that all of this stuff hits the bottom line of this parish. So we've got to fund projects. We've got to be able to get the money out there. If we don't have the money in hand, we don't even go forward bidding a project. That's a fact of life. So I just wanted to point that out really for the council, so we can mull over what the impact would be, to consider what some people may wish. But I got my mind around the fact that it's reconcilable, maybe not perfect. Maybe we can do some things about it next year in another adjustment to the millage. But my belief is I'm in favor of what I see here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paley. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Grant, I just want to double check some math. I think we're closer to an 8% reduction in overall mills. Is that correct? I think when we looked at, it was about a 10% or a 12% increase, and we were looking at roughly about a 4% increase for all of the funds under the parish umbrella, which would result in about an 8% rollback from the assessor's numbers.
Yes.
Okay, so it's an 8% rollback. When I started as parish president, I think when I came into office, the end of, I think, 2019 and into 2020, we were something about 119 mills. We have been, even before it was kind of popular to do, right? We've been looking at our millages and making adjustments, tweaking it. Obviously, Hurricane Ida and COVID has impacted, maybe the level in which we would have looked to do that because of, as Mr. Pilier say, not only are we not immune from inflation, it's compounded on us because we have to work with labor markets and other things. It's not just like the price of milk is 4% higher this year than last year. It's the price of milk plus the labor it costs to make it all gets charged to us. And so, Mr. Pilier, you're absolutely correct in your assessment of how we kind of receive some sort of compound inflation, and we are a little bit more sensitive to markets. As a parish entity, we are competing with government projects. We're competing with private projects. I can tell you, I cannot find an operator, or it's very hard to find operators, and I can tell you where they're all at. They're all in Port Sulphur on the Plaquemines Parish job, where I believe that there is a limitless budget down there, and they will pay them whatever they want to walk off the street and do it. I think the point I'm making is that after you look at what is happening with the millage reductions this year by not only the school system, the parish, the sheriff's office, what they're planning to roll back, you will see a millage rate, and this, again, will depend on what the levy districts do, but you will see a millage rate of about 102 and change. And so in about a 5-year period, that's a 16 mil decrease. So I think, and when you compare that to where historically we've been, you're at about roughly 1985, 1986 as far as a millage rate is concerned. Now, I'm committed to pushing that further down. I think we should get into the double digits and out of the triple digits so that we are competitive with other parishes when we look at industry that's looking to come here, businesses that want to come here. Having that low interest rate or low millage rate up front is an incentive for companies to come here. It is an incentive for people to move here. We don't control, obviously, the value, and it's a good thing, I think, that people's values are up. That means your largest asset is is growing, and that is a good thing for people. Obviously, when there is a tax, especially a property tax associated with that value, that also affects your tax bill at the end of the year. I think it's important to know too that when you look at the overall value of the parish, we're at about 2.5 billion. That is expected to continue to grow. And Mr. Simon, I know if you had conversations with the assessor's office that they've probably told you such. I am committed, and I hope that the other taxing bodies will be committed too to continuing to roll that down. But also understand that 91% of everything that is assessed comes from industry. So when you walk into the library and you look at library books, 9 out of every 10 are paid for by industry. 9 out of every 10 fire trucks is paid for by industry. 9 out of every 10 police officers, 9 out of every 10 parish employees, and 9 out of every 10 pieces of equipment that we have is paid for by industry. In other words, to give someone a 30% decrease or a significant decrease, it's very hard in our position to give that decrease. We can write a decrease and change it, but it's very hard to have a significant impact on the resident because of the industry that is also in place that also receives that decrease as well. So, I'm looking at numbers from last year to this year. We've had significant increases. The fire department, for example, over the last 2 years, the fire service is getting $550,000 more than they were in previous years. And now I know that costs are going up, but thank God we live in a parish where we have a strong industrial base, a strong economy, because what would we be doing if we had a 0% increase? There would be no change in the revenues for the fire service. So $550,000 over 2 years is significant, and I can tell you that we as a parish are going to make not only the largest reduction, a single-year reduction in the history of the parish this year, but we will probably be the largest reduction out of any parish in the entire state. I hope that our council is committed to looking at this. We have a lot of good projects that'll come online in subsequent years, and my hope is that we can continue to reduce millages for our residents, for our businesses, and for our industry.
Mr. Commodale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up on some stuff Mr. P.A. said, I do this type of work for a living, and you guys heard Mr. Jewell mention we had some state and federal help to do some of this splash pad work. Anytime we take a government grant or funding, a private contractor such as myself is required to meet certain demands. There's a bipartisan infrastructure bill, and there's the Inflation Reduction Act. Anytime any federal money from those two come into a public project, I'm forced to pay a prevailing wage. That's a union wage. I'm forced to hire an apprentice for every 5 people that I have in my company. So that's where you're seeing these numbers come from. Now, I also agree with Mr. Allhouse. I struggle with this a lot. I spent 20 years of my career in first responding, 8 years on the federal level. The rest for Dow Chemical, 12 years. What really gets me, and we did cut, but the astronomical number for our libraries versus our life-saving entities is ridiculous, in my opinion. We're giving $10 million to libraries, and we give 3 to the people who we rely on to save our families. If you've ever been to an accident scene, or it's your family, and you can't get them cut out of a vehicle because the fire department doesn't have a jaws of life, you might look at it a little different. So I do support cutting our taxes in the way we did it. But if we're going to go over the requirement by 64.64, maybe we can reconsider cutting that fire service and cutting the people who's saving our families. I don't know if that's something we can do here or if it's something we need to do next year, but I know we sit and listen to the library board, and there's a lot of people still using libraries. But when you're in that car accident or your house is on fire, that library's not helping you. Thank you.
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to correct one thing Mr. Commodale said. It's not just the 2 acts that require federal strings attached to grants. It's any federal funding that requires the prevailing wage. to be some oversight on it with all the contractors. I am a member of the library board, and as a former member of the administration for almost 10 years, the library system has always built its buildings, new libraries, with cash, which is pretty unusual to build buildings like that. So the library is building the Hornville Library Branch, which is intended to be the last and final build of a library in this parish. And so possibly after that's built, we as a council and the administration can take a look at lowering that millage. We'll have to have some conversations, of course, with the library board and Ms. Benedict, but I'm not in disagreement that our fire service deserves more. I am looking forward to seeing the plans that Chief Alshouse mentioned are going to be forthcoming. We've had some meetings about that, and we're looking forward to those changes being made. But I don't know that making changes to this tonight, any significant changes, would require re-advertisement. So if anyone has a motion, just consider that prior. Thank you.
So Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, as everybody knows, this is the first year that I've been on council, and one of the priorities for me is to make sure that I have a listening ear for our firefighters. Mr. Cormandel said it the best. I can't say it any better. But I have been waiting for that plan, waiting for those particular details of what the fire department needs, and am definitely all ears to hear what they need and figure out how to provide them what they need. Meanwhile, another fun fact that I didn't realize until I got into government service is that every single project by this parish, when we agree to do the project, has to be fully funded. So, like Mr. Cormandel said, and Ms. Fonseca, that we have one more library that they're planning on building. It's already technically fully funded. However, with inflationary factors, maybe there's some leeway in there, providing for that millage to remain the same, to make sure that that is paid for in cash in full. At which point, I think we need to take a hard look at these numbers and start making some shifts so that the fire department can get what it needs when it identifies what it needs. Thank you.
Any additional council discussion? All righty. Now I get to talk. So I want to thank y'all. This parish council has taken the time to really jump into these figures. And Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for bringing it to attention, but I will tell you, each and every one of us have sat through numerous meetings with the administration, with the assessor, with the different taxing bodies. We saw the same thing you did. So we have informed ourselves that we can make good decisions. Mr. Pellier, Mr. Carmidel, Mr. Daniels, I mean, y'all make some great points, but I want to say thank you. I've never seen a parish council participate in the budget process and the millage rates like we did. So I'd like to see that continue for the next 4 years and for the next council. But from me, thank you very much. All righty, council discussion is closed. Please cast your votes for file number 2024-0257. And that motion passes unanimously. Ordinance is scheduled for public hearing introduced at a previous meeting. 2024-0214, an ordinance to amend the St. Charles Parish zoning ordinance of 1981, Appendix A, as amended. Section 6, zoning district, criteria and regulations. Section 8, site design requirements. Section 21, sign regulations. To add the Highway 90 corridor overlay zone, COZ, to add criteria for site plans and site plan review, and to add recommended sign definitions. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the last step for this overlay zone. The consultants have continued to be on time and on budget for this project. This ordinance will wrap up all of the stakeholder meetings, the legislative meetings, all of the discussions that we've had with council, and the contributions on that are all bundled up in this tonight. It covers the overlay zone, the aesthetic differences that it brings to the corridor, the design standards that are set forth in here, as well as a improved process for documenting site plans on commercial development over time. We appreciate all the support we've had from the council and the business partners along 90 that attended the stakeholder meetings. And with that, turn over to you, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2024-0214 is now open for the public hearing. If anyone would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Matthew Allsouth, 303 South Ashland. I just figure while I'm here, I'd like to say I'm very excited about this. I think it's a good thing. And, kudos to the council and the parish president for this. I think it's going to help improve our parish.
Thank you, Chief. Does anyone else like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0214. And that motion passes unanimously. Michael, thank you, your department, and our consultants for it. It was a wonderful job.
Thank you, sir.
Resolutions. 2024-0250, a resolution endorsing a waiver from Appendix A, St. Charles Parish Zoning Ordinance of 1981, Section 8, Site Design Requirements, A, off-street parking in general. Item 2 is requested by the St. Charles Parish Department of Parks and Recreation. Mr. Flores.
Actually, I'll handle.
Mr. Albert.
I mean, he can explain the project. He's welcome to
Right.
do that. Procedurally, the reason it's here is this is a special exception that could normally be approved within my office. However, they're deviating from a hard surface parking lot and using a standard gravel aggregate lot. That requires a waiver from the Planning Commission and subsequent approval from the council. Thank you.
Did it have to go through ZBA or went through Planning Commission?
Planning Commission. It's just the way the code's laid out for special exceptions. It sets forth a path for waivers.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2024-0260 is now open for public comment. If does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Dwayne Foray, Department of Parks and Recreation. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council, Parish President Jew. This gives us the ability to start consolidating some of our soccer facilities around the parish. We've talked about restructuring many times before, and this gives us a wonderful corridor in at Ashton, the community center, especially with the road being built here shortly, and then future dog park expansion right there. So this gives us a great hub. It brings all of our soccer participants together and an easy access on and off, unlike other facilities that we play at and practice at around the parish. So we committed to adding beautification to this aggregate or this crushed concrete, and also we kept in mind while developing the site and the features to go along with it, having a nice buffer zone from the houses at Ashton and on Ashton Drive. So if they were concerned about dust, we'd have some trees planted, some beautification, and we left a good buffer zone. So I'd like to answer any questions you may have, and I'd ask you for your support in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foray. If anyone else would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, everyone. Parish President Jewell, members of the council. My name is Ed Wadden. I'm a resident of Luling. I'm also a board member of the St. Charles Soccer Organization, board member and secretary. I want to, first of all, thank President Jewell and our recreation director for the support of soccer through the years. You guys have done a really good job in helping us with the soccer program, which we represent some 700 kids participating in our program. The organization the organization really does a really good job of allowing the participation of all of these kids. But one problem has cropped up for us, and people have asked me, why is it that you have such a beautiful facility there and you don't utilize it as much as we think that you should? And there's one simple comment. We simply don't have enough parking. We only have 68 parking places, and we need considerably more than that. This project, this resolution, and the parish has worked hard on clearing up some of the problems so that we can get some additional parking and beautifying that area. This resolution will do that, and we would appreciate very much your support of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ed. If anyone else would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none. Council discussion. Mr. Bruyere.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just like to appreciate the time that administration spent with me working out some of the details with the parking situation. You know, I have heard from some of the neighbors that have had been concerned about the dust that would come from such an area that was not paved, completely paved. And I think that definitely, you know, some of the things that we discussed will assist with that. I would like to definitely make sure that we have a landscape designer involved that could select the most appropriate things that could hide, you know, an ugly parking lot, as well as keep some of the dust in there, possibly even a watering system that may keep the dust from coming from that area. And we fully support the growth of the Parks and Recreation, and we know that I know it's going to be one of those things that it's kind of a growing pain because we know it's very costly to have multiple areas for soccer, and in order for us to have the funds available to one day maybe make this a permanent lot, we're going to have to start, you know, making some changes so that we can do this effectively and productively. And so thank you again for your time, and I look forward to working with y'all on and hearing some ideas that y'all have and continuing to make this a great project.
Thank you, Mr. Bruyere. I did fail to close the public comment area, so it is now closed. Mr. Jewell.
I just want to say that I think this is going to be a really good project. I said it now and I'll say it forever. We are trying to build a quality-based facilities program for Parks and Recreation and not quantity. And right now, we have 3 separate soccer facilities. We have the Ashton Soccer Facility. We have J.B. Martin and RJ, where we do a lot of our soccer as well. And when we have Shriners on the East Bank. Having this location and the adequate parking there will allow us to consolidate those spaces down to that one. And if you recall in the master agreement that we signed with the school board, that agreement allows us some more flexibility, and we're thinking about this when negotiating that contract with the school board, that we would be able to get out of cutting RJ and JB. I know Dwayne's here. I think it takes us at least 2 days or so of multiple employees in recreation going out and cutting RJV out. That's 2 days that they are not in your neighborhood park or attending something else, some other park, dragging the clay on a baseball field or picking up trash. These are the types of things that I think will allow us to really will really allow us to better maintain our parks. When we can be thoughtful and consolidate our activities, it's going to be in a nice centrally located portion of the parish right by the bridge. And I want to thank Councilwoman DeBruyer for working with us on it. She immediately asked for a meeting as soon as she heard about this to make sure that this was going to be something that was a compliment to her district and her neighborhood. And I think that we plan on working with you to make sure that we do achieve your goal and making sure that it is an asset and not a nuisance to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Miles, I'm going to put you on the spot, and I won't hold you to it, but
Yes, sir.
we had to pave this area. Just in general knowledge, can you give me a figure how much it would cost to
Do
pave
the whole
into
project, probably
parking
$1.5 million. $1.5 million.
Thank you, Miles. Any further council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0260. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0268, a resolution endorsing a waiver from Appendix C, Subdivision Regulations of 1981, Section 3, Geometric Standards, C, lots, 1 size, B, width, as requested by Terrence DeMiles and Marcella Narcisse. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a subdivision consisting of 2 lots, going into 2 lots, adjusting a property line because the existing structure crosses the property line. The moved line between the 2 properties creates enough distance for proper setbacks, although it does make Lot 7A slightly under the required width at 58 feet. The department has no objection to the waiver request as it corrects a substantial nonconformity of the house being over the property line. The Planning Commission approved and recommend approval of this waiver. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2024-0268 is open for public comment. If anyone would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public comment is now closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0268. And that motion passes unanimously. All right, 2024-0269, a resolution authorizing the publication of a notice of intention to create Highway 90 Economic Development District 1 of the Parish of St. Charles, the state of Louisiana, under the authority of Part 2, Chapter 27, Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended, providing for the employment of a special counsel and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Fauché.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. What you have before you is the first step of creating that district that will work hand in hand with the commercial overlay zone that you all just created. With me tonight, I have Mr. Philip Sherman with Adams and Reese. He'll be able to answer any questions you may have on the legal part of creating the district. That is all done by state law. There's a process that we have to follow. It's a 2-step process. You're gonna what you have before you tonight is the first step. We have to in advertising that notice of intent. Then that will be follow up with an ordinance. So with that, I believe you have the map that covers the entire district. Like I said, it syncs up with the commercial overlay zone, as well as it includes a handful of properties that are adjacent to the zone. And with that, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Fauché. File number 2024-0269 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, the public comment is now closed. Is there any council discussion? You want to wait till last? Sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Jew, Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a question on the rates, because I believe there's a limit the state legislature sets. Who's going to take this one? Mr. Oob, you going to take it?
Yes, I can answer that. So the AG, the Attorney General, does have rates. In order to go outside of those rates, you have to have approval by the AG's office. And as you will see in the ordinance, in the attachment specifically talks about, I believe there's the Adams and Reese engagement letter, I think Section 4 lists those rates. However, you will see those rates are contingent upon the approval by the AG's office. In order for the AG's office to even consider it, we first have to have the resolution by the council allowing it to go to the AG's office. It doesn't mean they're going to accept it. They could reduce it, they could accept it. Whenever you do any type of legal work that has any special nature to it, such as this tax work, economics tax district work, the AG will tend to approve outside of its normal rates, but it's subject to their approval.
Do we pay our bond attorney a higher rate than?
I can't answer that. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Grant, can you answer that?
Yeah, we do not, we pay them the standard rate.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am familiar with AG making some waivers for specialized services, but my question goes to, just because I think I'm missing a page of the engagement letter, who's the signatory of the engagement letter? It refers to Mr. Wolf and Mr. Sherman in the third person, and who's going to be the primary contact? Is that going to be Kate Creed? Is that the signatory?
Philip Sherman, I would be the primary contact, myself or David Wolf.
Okay, so.
And I'm not sure if one of the three of us signed it. I'm not,
Okay.
it might have been me.
I don't have the whole.
I'm sorry, yeah.
The whole letter is what I was, yeah. Is there any other substantive portions of this letter that we do not have? It's got page 3, no signature. And it stops mid-sentence.
And I do also want to point out, it does have a cap of 22,500, and the anticipation is that part of that cap, 50%, will be contributed by the developer. So 50% of those rates will come from the developers, and also once the, and I believe they can speak to that further, once the if and when the economic tax district is created, the reimbursement to the parish would come first to their attorney's fees from the district. So we're allowed to reimburse that as the district collects those fees.
Corey, that's a different one that we're looking at. This is for, this was for the Highway 90 overlay district.
Well, this does have the 22,500 cap. For both,
Page
it's for
3.
both.
Mr. Daniels,
Uh,
are you finished?
I was waiting to see if I was missing any of the engagement letter. No, go ahead.
No, I was
Yeah.
just going to say, I don't have a copy with me, I can get it to you, but there should not be much more that's really of a whole lot of significance.
Right, and so I know now we're starting to have a debate, but we've established that there's a cap, but yet Mr. Oob misspoke about the tax portion of it, is what you're saying. There's no tax portion of it.
I'm sorry, I was looking up.
Okay.
This, was
So there's-
pushing it.
I'm sorry, and this is
That's okay.
totally out of order, but I got confused about the tax. There is no tax portion on this particular.
No, not at all. This, we're going to create this district to allow the businesses to be able to apply for a tax incentives that the state of Louisiana has. It's called the restoration tax abatement. So what it will do, it will provide an incentive to those businesses that want to improve their property. It will freeze the value, the assessed value of the property at the pre-improved rate or the pre-improved level for 10 years. So it'll be a 10-year tax abatement, 5 and 5. You get approved for 5 years, you come back and and they'll check to make sure that you've done everything that you claimed you were going to do, and then it is approved again for an additional 5 years.
Thank you, because that was my secondary question for an explanation of exactly how this is supposed to work.
The
and what
program, yes,
incentives
ma'am.
for those business owners. Thank you so much.
It is. And the way it works is that prior to going to the state, you all will have to approve each project or each business owner that applies. It comes to you all first, and then it goes to the state of Louisiana.
Thank you.
I have a motion on the table by Ms. Fonseca, and I second it.
Question first.
Oh, excuse me, let's do this. I'm sorry, let's hold on. Ms. Fonseca?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Grant, what is the rate now? Do you remember?
I believe it's $2.75 an hour.
Okay,
think
it hasn't changed then. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to table this item to get more clarity on the rates that are being requested, and also get the other pages that Ms. O'Daniels noticed were missing from this. Thank you.
So I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, I second it, to table to get further information. Motion to table. Please cast your votes to tables. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0273, a resolution confirming the parish president's prior authorization to execute documents in connection with the final payment of the parish's taxable revenue bonds, Randa Properties LLC Project Series 2002, in accordance with Ordinance 02-8-1, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Raymond.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Robert Raymond, representing the legal department of St. Charles Parish. What we're asking you to do tonight is to pass this resolution, really to just ratify or make you aware of the fact that Randa Corporation is now asking St. Charles Parish to fulfill its contractual obligations. Back in 2002, through a series of different transactions, negotiated and brought to a head to cause Randa Corporation to relocate here. Certain municipal bonds were issued, and a lease was entered with St. Charles Parish, and now they are exercising their option, which is contained in the lease, to purchase a portion of the project. So Mr. Jewell, as parish president, has already been authorized by the 2002 ordinance. This is really just in the interest of transparency to let the council know what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. File number 2024-0273 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public comment is closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0273. And that motion passes unanimously. Okay, meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meetings, the Lafourche Basin Levy District, Wednesday, August 7th, 2024, 6 p.m. Lafourche Basin Levy District Office, 21380 Highway 20 in Vacherie. The Communications District, 911, Monday, August 12th, 2024, 5 p.m. in the council chambers. The Civil Service Board, Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers. The Community Action Advisory Board, Wednesday, August 14th, 2024, 5 p.m. in the council chambers. The Board of Adjustment, the ZBA, Thursday, August 15th, 2024, 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Pontchartrain Levy District, Monday, August 19th, 2024, 6 p.m. The Pontchartrain Levy District Headquarters Complex, 2069 Railroad Avenue in Lutcher. St. Charles Parish Council, Monday, August 19th, 2024, at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. I need a motion and a second to adjourn. I have a motion by Ms. Skiba, second by Mr. Carmadell. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes unanimously. Have a great evening. We're officially adjourned.